Imagine this: the deadliest wars in history, World War I and World War II, where millions of soldiers marched to the front, nations collapsed, and leaders fell. Yet behind the smoke and chaos were men who never fired a single bullet, but decided how long wars lasted and who might win. The bankers. To understand their role, we go back to the late 19th and early 20th century, when Europe was ruled by empires. But real power lay in money, and wars required unimaginable funds to pay for food, weapons, uniforms, ships, and armies, which governments rarely had ready, so they turned to powerful financial dynasties like the Rothschilds, who by then had built a vast European network stretching across London, Paris, Vienna, Frankfurt, and Naples, so powerful that newspapers once said they were more powerful than kings. When World War I erupted in 1914, Britain needed billions for its navy, France for weapons, and Germany for its armies. And, shockingly, the same banking networks were involved in funding both sides. London Rothschilds organized war bonds for Britain. Their Paris branch raised funds for France, and in Germany and Austria. Rival financiers, sometimes tied to the same dynasties, supported the Central Powers, while in America, J.P. Morgan and Company became the official purchasing agent for Britain and France, funneling billions into Allied weapon purchases, collecting massive commissions, and critics even warned that America might be dragged into war simply to protect Morgan's investments. Every bullet fired and every battleship built meant profit for bankers who bought government war bonds cheaply, collected interest, and sold them back at a premium. And by the end of the war, while nations were drowning in debt, financiers were richer than ever. Fast forward 20 years after the Great Depression, another war loomed, and Hitler's rise in Germany was fueled partly by international financial links. American corporations like Ford and General Motors ran subsidiaries in Germany. IBM supplied punch card machines for Nazi logistics, and Switzerland's Bank for International Settlements quietly allowed transactions even between enemies. While on the Allied side, governments launched massive war bond campaigns, telling ordinary citizens they were serving their country. But behind the scenes, banks orchestrated the sales and pocketed the fees, meaning, once again, financiers profited from both sides. The uncomfortable truth is that whether Britain and France triumphed or Germany and its allies prevailed, bankers stood to gain. If the Allies won, loans and bonds were repaid with interest. If the Axis had succeeded, German financiers would have reaped the rewards, because for these secret dynasties, war was not about ideology, but about opportunity. One historian put it best: if wars are the battles of kings, then peace is the profit of bankers, reminding us that history is not only written by generals and politicians, but also in balance sheets, contracts, and quiet bank offices where the real weapon of war, money, decided the fate of nations.